Well, I've been out of town for about 3 weeks now, during critical time that I would normally be getting things ready for upcoming winter. Old Man Winter stepped in during that time, and he put some snow on the ground and froze the ground solid. So I got a lot of catch up to do. I'm lucky I caught it when I did, but I have to scravel to get things done. Because before you know it, a layer of snow will be down and it'll be too late. Pour your windshield wash this way and it doesn't get any airlock into it. Everybody tends to want to do it this way. Glug, glug, glug. So I notice there's a little sag forming right over this opening right here, and there's a large span between here and there, and I just want to pop another temporary stick for the winter time, because once the snow gets on that, it's going to be a lot of weight, and I'm just afraid it's going to buckle down right there in the front. So I'm going to cut up this log and just pop it up for the winter months. I didn't have an extra pad, but it's only temporary for the winter. The ground's frozen there now, so that should stand. It'll help for sure. And if I see that it's necessary, I'll put one there permanently. Still got loads of room here to put logs on my bed. All right, on to the next thing. I haven't even got my wood sheds full yet. It's ridiculous. It's a knife my father helped me build, I'd say about 40 years ago. See my name on it there? Old piece of metal, little saw in the back. First one, still got it. To get your kettle boiled the fastest, just boil the sticks right around it. Thanks to Pierre and Sandra Harton, sent me this beautiful mug. Look at that. Life is better at the lake. I agree. Cup of chaga tea. My father and I harvested this summer. He used to love doing that. Finding the chaga. There we go, boiling already. And guess who taught me that trick? My father also loved just a simple, basic buttered bread over fire, like that. A few crackers and a bit of cheese. That was enough for him, cup of tea. I didn't think you guys would be too far away once the food came out. Just like that. Pretty basic, but delicious. No, Dad didn't say that. That was me. There you go. You do that sometimes, though. That's the way he used to drink his tea. Annoying to some, not all the time to me. One of those funny things, you remember? So guys, I've been rushing around. I just got home last night. I was gone for 3 weeks. And I was gone during that time because my father passed away. Suddenly. Just like that. No notice. Just one of those things. He got up Sunday morning and got ready for church. Like he always did with my mother. And he headed to church, and when he got into the church, he was walking up to the seat. And when he got to the seat, he just kind of slipped down. It wasn't a hard smack on the floor. My mother was there right with him. And he just softly went to the floor, and within a few moments, he was gone. Just like that. When I got the call, of course, it was a shocker. How could it not be? But, You know, once the initial shock went away, I looked at the whole situation as like all my family did, really. He was 88 years old. He was 88 in August, actually. Never hardly had a sick day in his life. He had no pain, no suffering. And for the last little while, I think he knew that he was ready to go. He was starting to like prepare around the house, give away a few things. And when I went home, I had to rush home, of course, and fly home very quickly. You know, I found his will just kind of folded over on one of his little desks he had downstairs. Almost like he was just left it there for me to pick up, which I did. But a good thing about it is that I mentioned this in his tribute at his funeral. My father lived a very complete life. And what I mean by that is, I think you understand that everybody, if you were to look into a book of your own life, you would have a list of things that you would like to do, and you'd have boxes there to check off as you did them, you know, a little checklist. Well, my father had most of those boxes ticked off. My father was an outstanding man, and you know, even at a very young age, he had to help raise his siblings because his father, being my grandfather, actually died in a sawmill accident. And Dad was the age of 17. And of course, his brothers and sisters were all younger, and he had to help raise them. And he did that, you know, willingly. And they kind of looked up to him as a father. And then they all grew up, and my father went out and found work, and I met my mother. And, you know, he considered her his sweetheart back in the day. Still did till the last day. And he met her, and he married her. And he always used to say, you know, my wife, she was too beautiful for me. So although he wasn't a romantic guy, that was his kind of way of being romantic, I guess, when he'd say stuff like that. And then my sister and I came along, you know, so he married his dream girl. He had 2 children, a gentleman's family, boy and a girl. And he was the ultimate father. I mean, his whole life was dedicated to looking after my mother, looking after my sister and I, and he was the ultimate provider. And he also looked after everybody around him. He was known in the town to be that guy who you go to for advice, for help. Father wasn't educated that much. I found his grade 11 high school certificate. That was a long time ago, obviously. And although he didn't have degrees behind his name, he was a very smart man, very practical man. And like I say, people looked up to him and respected his opinion, his experience. My father became really well known. He had a very public life. He was a renowned wildlife officer, a gunsmith, and just a godly man around the communities. So he was very well known. His life was extremely public. And although very public and very busy man, he made time for us all the time. He taught me everything that I think I ever learned in regards to skills. You know, from lighting fires to building my first cabin, building my first knife, hunting, fishing, survival in the woods. He taught it all to me. He has some incredible stories of his own, being lost in the woods nighttime and walking kilometers and kilometers through the dark and finding his way back to an old wildlife cabin one time and getting there in wee hours in the morning to the dark. He was that type of a fellow who was extremely good in the woods. And he was the guy that, of course, if I had any issue in life, the first person that would come to mind would be my father, of course, every time. I don't care if it was electrical, plumbing, you know, or it could be a financial thing. The first person who would come to my mind every time was my father. And I'd pick up the phone and I'd call him. This is a bit hard, as you can imagine. But my father always had an answer. And if he didn't have an answer, he always gave you options to explore. And I respected that, you know, he never left you hanging at all. So we checked off that box, you know, he was the outstanding father, the mentor. And he did the same thing for my sister. In the last few years of his life, he started to get dementia. Actually, he had dementia. It was a very slow progressing thing, and I could still call him up. He was still home in his own house. He was up here last spring with me, just ptarmigan hunting. So he kind of lived for the day. And those of you who deal with that in your families, you know what I mean. My father gave away everything he had. Pretty much if you needed something, he gave it to you. If he got an extra $100 somewhere, he would take at least half of that and he'd give that away. And believe me, I know his finances now more than anybody else, and there's nothing. And you know what? I'd prefer it to be that way. I would not want my father to be a financially wealthy man with $1 million in the bank. but not be the person he was. I would rather for him to owe $1 million and be the person he was, because money does not what you're going to remember someone by. It's what they did and who they were. But as I said, he lived a complete life. And right up to his dying day, I think if you asked my father, if you said, Bruce, here's a piece of paper. Don't show me what it is. Write down where you'd like to pass away when that time comes. Put it in your pocket, Bruce. Or when that day comes, we can look at it and see. I bet you dollars to donuts, if you could have pulled out that piece of paper from his pocket, he probably would have said, in church, which is right where he died. Again, another box to check off. I was very lucky in my life to have a father for 88 years. Some of you never knew your fathers. Some of you only knew your fathers for a few years, or they died when a very young age. So I'm not going to mourn or grieve my father's passing. Of course, I'll miss him. There, I thought. And it's great to have hope, isn't it? Where would we be without hope? And you hope for things and you have faith in things, you know. And I have hope that I'll see Dad again sometime. You know, we often say, you're gone now, but we'll meet you later on. And I believe that. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to let you guys know that this happened. It's a big thing. I've been away, and I'm going to be away. I'm home for 2 days, and I have to go away again on 2, if not 3 trips before Christmas. I have to go and make sure things are okay at my home. My mother and my sister are down there. The house is there. So it was a huge responsibility, and it is my responsibility, and I happily accept that in my father's place. And I'm going to see that they're taken care of, just like he would. So I'll try to make a video as soon as I get back here. And until that time, take care of each other, get outside, and enjoy everything outdoors. And normally I would say, we'll see you again next time. But this one time I'll say it differently, and I'll say it directly to my father. Dad, I'll see you next time. Guaranteed. Now I want you to say, we'll see you next time. Guaranteed. And say it right loud.
Well, we'll see you next time, for sure. Guaranteed.
All right, leave out the for sure part. Say, we'll see you next time. Guaranteed.
We'll see you next time. Guaranteed.
There you go.
I'm not quite sure where.